Ooh, that water's warm.
Gross.
Yeah.
You like gross water.
Back, man.
You gotta tap the sides.
What do you mean?
You gotta drag it and tap it to the side.
Drag. What do you mean? Tap it to the side.
Do this. Do this.
Yeah, I know that. I was trying to make it smaller.
This.
It kind of helped them advance. I mean, do you think this was a conspiracy?
Gotta go with Jacob Butter. Gotta go
No,
lefty.
we're talking about the players. That's tournament champion into the podcast.
There he is, right
Oh,
there.
he doesn't even know how to watch. Go to youtube.com and search Down Lane Podcast. You gotta unmute yourself. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are streaming live from the lab at Town and Country Lanes. I'm your host, Kyle Haines, and with me is the assistant to the host, Anthony Scaccia.
I would just like to ask if everybody can hear me. Austin is not here today, which means I had to actually set up my own station.
We are freaking out.
And then
What's up, Mitch Young? How's it
I
going?
hope everybody can hear me. I don't know what I'm doing right now. I don't know anything.
Please help. Send help.
30 weeks in, and Kyle is yelling at me. He's like, "You haven't paid attention this whole time," and I said, "No, I haven't. I have no need to pay attention."
Oh my goodness.
So we are here. Hopefully you can hear me, and I'm not just the mumbling mouth.
Mumbles McGee.
Yeah. I know.
On tonight's
Can barely understand me.
very muffled. Awesome. Great start.
Talk very slow.
Refresh maybe. On tonight's episode, we got to talk about Brian Voss's comments that he made about the state of bowling and the USBC. We'll get into our preparation for the New York State Open Championships as well as the National USBC Open Championships. And then the PBA made some major upgrades to the website, in our opinion, which I think were pretty sweet. So we'll get into that a little bit. Don't forget to comment to us during the show because we will talk with you guys and we will take your questions live on air and we will chat with you guys. So hopefully you guys can hear Anthony. Check 1 2.
We tried this again. Or else I'm going to talk very slow. And
Very loud. I might have to move my microphone over so everybody can hear with my microphone. But how was your week this week?
I do not remember what I did this week. To be honest, I don't remember. I bowled a little bit, I think, last week.
Yeah.
This weekend, did we do anything?
Did we bowl this weekend? I don't even remember.
I do not
Dude,
remember.
my memory is terrible.
Sunday I bowled the Blizzard Bowl. Hopefully you
Oh,
guys can still hear me.
yeah.
I bowled at my uncle's center to support the Boys and Girls Club. Year 665. We used about 2 or 3 different balls, and we broke even in brackets, so that was good.
Breaking even is not losing, so that is a success,
Correct.
in my opinion.
I was +5. It's getting a little better. It's still a little quiet. I apologize. I will
Speak
just
up.
talk louder. Now I am sounding good. We have no idea.
Yeah.
I broke it. I actually dropped the mic before this, so it's my fault.
This is, you know what? No, I'm blaming Austin. Austin, this is all your fault. You have ruined tonight's show.
You're gonna make it great.
Just kidding. So every once in a while, again, I got a night off this year. You got a night off this year. So, just the one.
Producer does not get it because that's when things go to
HE double hockey sticks.
Basket and hand barrels or whatever they say. Hand in a basket.
Hell in a hand basket?
Yeah, that's it.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, so other than practice and league, I didn't do anything else extracurricular. Oh no, I bowled in the adult junior.
Right.
The adult junior tournament for my son's junior league. And I disgraced my family name. It wasn't that bad.
That's not anything new.
I know. It wasn't that bad. But again, my spare shooting was atrocious. But I think last night during practice, which we'll get into in a little bit, that was much better. So I think might have figured it out. But yeah, this last month, for some reason, I don't know if it was hesitancy or whatever, but sometimes you go into a slump with some things. You get a little, I don't know, hitch in your step. No, it's a good thing.
You just get nervous.
Yeah, getting nervous at my 2 pins.
You're not like me.
Yeah, where you're too dumb to know what's going on.
Exactly. But I literally told you last week, I said, hey, you should probably stop thinking and just throw the ball. Like, I don't even look where I line up. Like I stopped that when I was like 3.
Yeah.
There's no need to look where you're lining up. You know where you got to throw it.
Sure. Yeah.
I don't look down. There's no point.
That's great. There's no point.
There is no point to look down. Jesus, it looks right. It looks about right. I hit my target.
Sure. That works great. Good for you.
It does.
Yeah, not for me. I have to stand in the same spot every time. But I did change from looking at the arrows to looking at the pin, which I've done before for spares, but I changed it again back to that to see if it would help. And it seems to help a little bit. It makes it a little more accurate, get the ball down the lane faster, farther.
That's very interesting because I have never, once I found out how to make it, that's it.
What's your strategy? Let the people know. Tell the people, what's your strategy? I just stand up on the approach and I whip it down the lane.
For what, spares?
Yes. What's your strategy for spare shooting?
Whatever looks good.
That is not helpful to people that are watching.
I don't understand what you want me to tell you. I mean, like, I just kind of get up there and I say to myself, okay, I have my ball in my hand, and now, okay, I'm going to shoot at a 7-pin. I'm going to stand a little bit to the right, and I'm going to look right at the middle arrow or a little bit to the right of the middle arrow, and if it doesn't look right, I'm just going to adjust a little bit and on the approach, but I don't look down. I just get up there and say, yeah, that angle looks right.
So, but at least, so you don't throw it straight. You throw it at an angle.
7-pin?
Yeah, right. Like, the point is, you have a strategy. You might not.
Yeah, there's a strategy to it, but I don't look down. Like, if I'm in the middle of a tournament, I'm like, man, this just doesn't look right. I just move over a little bit.
Right, but the point is, it's not like you're in a different spot. You might be within, or you might be different within an inch or two, but you're probably pretty close to the same place every time.
I'm not gonna disagree with you.
Whereas you make it sound like, well, this time I'm going to stand on the middle dot, and this time I'm going to stand on the
No,
farthest dot to the right.
I mean, you still have an idea, but like even when I line up on the strike shot, I don't look down.
Yeah, we know, but you're left-handed.
I mean, I'm just saying. I don't know. Like maybe at nationals I'll look down. To be honest, I might look down. Like in tournaments, maybe I'll look down. But I don't recall the last time I looked down, and people think I'm nuts.
There's a lot of field bowlers. We call them field bowlers that just get up on the approach. They feel where they're standing, and then they just go up there and whip it.
I just need to point out to Mitch's comment right off the rip. Okay, Mitch, let's get this one thing straight. I make more spares in one night than my whole right-handed team has to shoot at probably at nationals. I'm pretty sure I threw like 5 strikes during nationals and had 1 open frame last year.
That's right. That is
They're
true.
not walled up for me. I make them look really hard.
That is true. He was a spare machine last year because
I only missed the 2.
you had to throw at them.
Yeah, I didn't strike. I don't strike often. Usually I just make a lot of spares and keep myself close.
Which was, well, we'll get into it, but that was the same thing that we had last night when we were practicing on the nationals pattern too. You still couldn't shoot 600.
I mean, right. I had a bad.
We'll get there.
I had a bad one. Okay.
Yeah, I know. So I don't know if anybody noticed, because I don't know how much people take a look at the PBA website. But well, I have to be honest. I don't know how long this has been there, but I check occasionally. But this past week, I finally noticed there is a stats button, multiple buttons on the PBA website. So you guys correct me as to when this or inform me as to when this actually occurred. And I know that the PBA has been using the new scoring, live scoring website as of late, the last few tournaments. But now they actually have the stats on the website. On the stats on the website, you can search players by name, by the tour, so you can actually search all of the regional tours.
So we can find you?
Nope, because I've never bowled in a regional yet. But I just thought that was pretty neat because we can literally search anybody you want. Like,
we looked up Darren Tang. We saw some of his regional. I think he's only won regional so far, but there might have only been one. But we looked up his stats just to see how he did. Obviously, he cashed, but Darren Tang's he's on YouTube. That's why I picked him.
But I think one of the things that people were asking and wondering was, how do we get to this point for the playoffs? How do the players get ranked? Because we never saw the points list until finally we got to the PBA playoffs, and there they were, the points. Or we would get little bits and pieces. So-and-so has this many points, but we could never find a list. And now it's on the website. It's actually really great. The look of it's a little kind of MS-DOS, a little old school, but at least it's there. We can search. You can pick any tour that you want.
Earnings, cashes,
yeah, it's really sweet.
Averages.
It shows you Belmo's 34,000 points. He's made $251,000, 13 events. Simo's right behind him. He's actually made more money than Belmo this year by $2,000. He's got 26,000 points. EJ Tackett got 24,000 points, but just a mere $120,000 behind Simo.
Somebody said it's been out there for a little bit, but you know what? I wonder how many people actually look at that every day to see it.
And that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
it's cool that they put it.
But what's a little bit? I mean, I watched. I checked the website.
Somebody said it's been on for a while.
At least once a week.
Do you really?
I do.
Well, maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was. I don't know. I never look at that the PBA website. I usually just watch the telecasts.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
But thank you. Did you show that already? Thank you, Emerald Sin.
I don't hit buttons.
You did hit the button. Don't lie to me. You hit Mitch's button.
I get nervous to post anything on there because you might get mad at me.
But anyway, if anybody's looking for that has been looking for the stats and information, it's on there. And if you want to if you bowl regionals and stuff and you want to find out your points list and whatever, it's there. So we now have access to it, which is really, really sweet. So Anthony touched on this a couple seconds ago. This is our second to last show of the season. So next week is our final episode. So we're going to talk a little bit about
the summer months,
yeah,
how to stay sharp, what we do, what our plans are, and how you can stay sharp, what you should be doing, stuff like that, and kind of just elaborate a little bit on what we're going to do, and hopefully maybe we can video something this year. I don't know how we're not the greatest at that. We always are like, we're gonna
do so much stuff, and then it's like, we have to work.
Yes.
We have work to do.
So I mean, the first thing, what are your summer thoughts going into the summer? How'd you bowl this year? and what could you improve on going into the summer? As you know, this is kind of tournament time, so
Yeah.
maybe you touch on what you would brush up on as a player going to the summer months.
Let's see. So, well, we're in the spring right now. We just started spring, but we always call it the summer season, right? Because bowling's over, so we generally call it the summer.
Yeah.
Although I learned this year that summer bowling is big down in Florida, which,
Really?
yeah, because I assume it's to get out of the heat, right? So they don't really stop down there.
I mean, typically the west and I guess Florida. I have heard.
I should say just the southeast in general.
I've heard there's 50-week leagues because they don't want to go out in the summer, and then when it gets a little bit colder, they don't want to play, so they can alternate a little bit.
Right.
But I have heard that it's a little bit more prominent down there where it's hot. Believe it or not, people up here don't understand that.
Right. Well, they just want to get out on the golf course up here.
Exactly,
yeah.
Because there's it's winter.
Yeah.
7 months out of the year.
Right. So yeah, for me, I like to keep bowling. We have a tournament series here, a drop-in sweeper series that it's always bowled on a sport or challenge shot, mostly sport shots though, right? So they're usually under 4-1 for the most part.
This year,
occasional challenge shot every once in a while.
I did have a challenge shot in there. I do run them, so I know what's on there. We do it Thursday nights, 6 o'clock check-in, 6:30 start time. I believe this year we are all on sport patterns. We have a few PBA patterns in there, and we also have a few PWPA patterns in there.
Yep.
And I think if I'm correct, am I missing?
I don't know, dude.
Right here.
I don't know what you're trying to do.
If I'm correct, we will be bowling on. I think it's like Mexico or something. It's like the International Bowling Federation pattern.
Okay.
So we are trying to give a little bit more diversification.
So many good words.
Is that a good word right there?
Sure. But no, so I do that to stay sharp because I like to bowl on hard stuff to keep me sharp. I like
the bowl on sharp stuff to keep you sharp.
Yeah, and I like to make sure my spare shooting is good. And then of course we bowl at states, we bowl at the OCs Open Championships out in Vegas. So all of that's going on during the summer. My July and August months are, we don't bowl a lot. We're gonna try to bowl in a couple of regionals this year.
So you can see how bad we really are.
Yeah, we want to bowl against the good guys.
They show up. I don't know if they really show up on the regionals as often.
Yeah, we'll see.
I'm not sure, but yeah, this year we've got Broadway to start off. Then we do an International Bowling Federation, 2021, the Super Worlds Dubai. Then we won't bowl because I have a wedding to go to. We've got the PBA Tour Championship the week after. Then we're gonna do Scorpion, Wolf. Tower Pisa is actually kind of like that middle one where it's a little bit easier. So we do kind of go to a little bit of an easier one. And then Route 66, and then we go to Nationals, so we will not be here because we leave on Wednesday. And then the last two is the PWBA Reno Classic, which is a little bit of a shorter pattern. And then to top it all off, the last event, like we did the year before, it's one of the Masters. It is the Masters pattern from 2022, which is this year's. So we do have quite an interesting lineup here. There were a little bit easier patterns last year. But, we averaged about 33 to 35 players last year on a Thursday night at 6:30 on Sports Shots. And it's all scratch as well.
Yeah.
We actually don't run any handicap. It's $20 a week. And it's kind of like an experience league in a sense. But we do pay out every time. And there actually is match play after. So we are going to be doing that. And it's a blast to run because you know what? A lot of our guys who go to Nationals bowl. But you get a lot of people that you wouldn't expect to come in and they're
just looking for the experience and practice. Right. Yeah, because it's $20. It's almost like just showing up to your league. You know what I mean? It's not about winning money because it's not even a lot of money to win. It's just about getting experience and bowling on some harder stuff.
And the good thing about that is, a lot of the people that come to these are bowling that tournament time. So when they're bowling the tournaments, they have to stay sharp or they're looking to kind of get a little bit better or bowl on the harder stuff so that way when they go out, things don't seem as difficult. We did have a few guys last year who did oh, dang it. My mic is not working again. It's very quiet, so I'll talk into it a little bit better.
Just talk nice and loud.
But yeah, so we have a few guys who bowled in the tournament series with us last year, and they did go to some tournaments, and they ended up cashing, coming in first or second, and they kind of thanked me because they don't typically get to work on the sport pattern. So getting them in here, getting them to practice a little bit, they were able to make some better adjustments with their equipment. And they did a lot better. A lot of people thanked me for that because we are offering it and it's a drop-in league.
Yeah.
So
it's not even a league. It's just
not even a league. It's tournaments, but it's just a tournament. I call it like a drop-in league where you can show up whenever you feel and test your skills on some of the harder patterns that you don't get all year long.
Yeah. So basically it's just for me. It's a little bit of competition. It's a little bit of practice, which I like. So
yeah, there's a little bit more to it than just going in your league and throwing, like a PBA Experience League. For us, when we ran it, it wasn't the greatest because you got to bowl on them one time or two times one of the patterns, but there's really nothing to it. There's not unless you really wanted to put anything on it, and a lot of times you get a lot of people who just want to come and experience it, and then they stop showing.
Yeah.
So we needed something that was a little bit more. I don't want to say intense, but something that had a little bit more on the line. So when people showed up, they knew that, hey, I got a chance to win some money here. I got a chance to win this. So I don't want to come around and just jerk around the whole time. I do want to take it a little bit more serious.
Yeah, exactly.
And we don't bowl on anything twice.
Right.
Which some people do like to do like.
So they can kind of learn it a little bit.
A little bit more. But here, I feel as if we shouldn't do that because, it is a summer series and you're able to bowl if you want or not bowl. So it is definitely a good time. And we do brackets.
Yeah.
So
try to make a little bit more money if you're into it.
Yeah.
So next week we go to our New York State Open Championships, which actually is local. It's just 10, 15 minutes away. And we're practicing for that. They don't release the patterns. We bowl on some older patterns. The pattern that we practiced on before was real easy for us. So I don't know what happened there, but
it was 4-1. It was a 4-1 pattern from my uncle's place last year where we bowled. They did not
play like that there.
Play that easy because I went over there. But it is what it is. We have a little bit of a different lane surface and a little bit different oil. Believe it or not, it should have played a little bit harder, but they played easier.
Yeah.
So, we bowled in that once, and I got yelled at by everybody last week on a Wednesday evening.
Yeah, we have a practice night here on Wednesday nights where we bowl on sport shots, and 4-1 is kind of that middle ground where it could be a sport shot. It's a little bit closer to a challenge shot, but it just played super easy. So
everybody yelled at me.
They did not yell at you. They just packed up and left.
Yeah.
They're like, forget it.
Anthony, this is a safe
But
shot. This is too easy.
I'll tell you what, it played like a house shot. So everybody that yelled at me last week, anybody that watched the YouTube video that I posted about how bowling should be just a little bit harder. I didn't say impossible, but just a little bit harder. And then I got all the YouTube comments that told me I'm freaking crazy and that bowlers are going to quit and the bowling alleys are going to close.
Actually, I am doing that tomorrow, by the way.
What, quitting and closing?
No. We actually had an older gentleman, Jim Burton, if anybody knows him from who's watching from around here. He bowls every Friday here in practice. He just has a bunch of guys come in and practice. And we actually discussed this a little bit. And he's like, well, it's easy for you. I'm like, yeah, but I think that you should try it before you knock it. I said, it's really not that bad. So I said, you know what? I'm going to put out a pattern tomorrow and you can see how you do. So actually, we're going to have a 6-1 out there.
Nice.
And we're going to see what they think versus the house shot. And I think, the one I picked, I think they're going to like. I mean, obviously, I'm trying to pick something that is going to show that I'm right. But at the same time, I need to pick something that's fair.
It'll be 6-1, but it's going to be buffed for 45 feet.
It's actually very similar in volume.
Yeah.
And it's the same length. So I'm picking something that is very
close to the house shot as far as volume and length.
Right. So I can
but the ratio, I
can give him the best representation possible. So that way we can actually see what his thoughts are. And he's gonna take a guess which one is which.
Yeah. So I even forget where I was going with that, but the house the 4-1. But it just played like a house shot. It was crazy. I mean, there was a little bit of out of bounds, like when you missed way to the gutter, it wouldn't hook. But like, it was crazy how easy they were for a 4-1. Which it could be a sign of how the lanes are, but they're
or how good
they're
you
new.
are.
But maybe. Anyway, so we're practicing for states. We're practicing for the OCs, which we just want to talk about a little bit before we get into our big topic of the night. Because I think it's good information for everyone to hear, not even about how we're practicing, but maybe some of the bowling balls that we're picking for OCs, and what our bags look like, and maybe we hear from you guys what bowling balls, if you guys go to the OCs or other big tournaments, what's your bag look like? You know, what balls do you guys bring with you?
Right.
Because for the OCs, we've talked about this in our ball guide that's on our channel. You know, the volume is so high there, and the surface is so slick there, probably compared to most league houses, right?
Right.
So the ball just goes through the head so much faster than most people are probably used to. And I'll just say out loud, I was not used to it. 3 years ago or 4 years ago was our first time going, and none of us were ready for how fast the ball went through the heads. And of course, that was on a brand new lane surface in Syracuse.
And of course, I crushed
Yeah, by accident. But anyway, what'd you shoot? 600?
660.
Oh, that was your 660 year, and you haven't done that since.
I shot 660 in the team event.
Haven't done it since.
I have it not in the team event.
Right.
I shot 7.
No, you killed in
740
doubles and singles when they broke down.
Yeah, no, when they broke down doubles and singles. Shot 720, 740. Anyways, I
no,
did bowl well there.
but so
But I plowed the head pin half the time. But that's all you got to do in those.
dude, that was amazing. That blue ball, right? It was that blue ball that just it smashed the head pin and you
track
snowplowed him.
tundra, The track tundra pin down.
Yeah.
Crushed them for me.
Yeah. So basically what we've been doing, and if you guys go to the OCs or go to team events, you know, that are on challenge patterns or on difficult patterns, we practice as a team and we bowl as a team, or try our best to bowl as a team. We don't go out there as 5 individual bowlers. We go out there as a 5-man team, which I think is very important. So we're trying to pick our arsenal
right
similarly together, or as suited to the bowler, but also suited to the team. And then we're also practicing and bowling together as a team, not as 5 individual bowlers, because one bowler shooting 750 is great, but another bowler shooting 500 is not so great.
Not good. So what we do is, you know, going back a little bit, to kind of prepare for us. I know it's a little bit late because some people have started, but we
Sure.
go to our state event. And our state event, we do have some of our players out of our companion team are going, and we are bowling together. Most of us are. And so what we're going to do is we're going to work on breaking the pattern down probably a little bit to try to create, because from the scouting report we've heard that there's a little bit of hang to the right. So we might try to use a little bit of our strategy, what we like to use out for Vegas, out there, and kind of test it a little bit to see how it kind of fares. And then, you know, for the left, it's a little different because, you know, I'm going to be bowling by. Well, no, I think we're bowling Matt Zone. He's on my pair. So we'll find something to throw out. But, you know, to start there, you know, that's where you can kind of get your teams together and kind of form a little bit of a bond in a way. Because when we went out there the first few years, we went out, like you said, as individual players. But as we kind of learned a little bit, it's like, hey, man, like, you can't do this here and I can't do this here. And, yeah, it might work, but how often is it really going to work?
Right.
So we started to come together as a team probably the year before Reno, before COVID. And we did a lot of, I would say research, but we watched some guys on YouTube, see what they did, how they kind of conducted themselves as teams. And then we kind of made a good plan. And then last year we came in under 100th. We were like 95th. We came in 95th, even with a lot of opens. We could have had a lot more pins out there, and then I didn't strike. So, you know, we start with states and we start to build our team chemistry there, and then we kind of played into with practices and such. So what would you say our strategy is going to be, you know, going to the OCs, and what have we seen so far? Because we did practice, and I'm on the left, so I don't want to say what I think because I'm not throwing it over there.
So we've had a couple different options.
And maybe talk about brackets and what our thoughts are as we get into this, because Chris has a very good point about brackets.
So we've had a couple. We'll talk about lane play first. We had a couple different strategies that we've used, and both have been successful. So last year, when there was only 5 guys on the lane on the pair, I used urethane and everybody else used resin. I used urethane for a game and a half or 2 games.
Right, we had 4 righties and myself,
right,
I'm a left-hander. So we had 4 righties, 1 threw urethane, and the 3 others
used resin. So what we found is that resin, or that urethane, gave everybody a pretty good hold spot in the middle, and then the guys throwing the resin created a really good burn spot to the right and in the track. So then,
are you guys on top of each other? Or where are you playing?
Sorry, yeah. So the urethane, I played all the way to the right. I was right around 7-8 area, throwing it to about 4-5. So then as it was going off the pattern to the left, obviously, it's creating that hold spot.
It reapplies the oil right around, let's say, 14
Yeah.
to 17 where the pocket is. So Kyle's ball is hooking so early that when it exits the pattern, it's already hashing. So it's hashing towards the head pin at 13 to set at 13, anywhere inside of 13, board 13. So our other players took their resin bowling balls and played a little bit farther right. So we tried to take some of that hang spot out to our right, while Kyle kind of reapplied some of the oil from the outside because his purple ball didn't flare as much, a little bit more into the middle part of the lane to try and push a little bit in the middle and try to burn that right out. So that way we had bounce from the right.
Right.
We had a pinch more hold. So it actually created more of a house shot.
Right. It did. Yeah. It was crazy. Yeah. So yeah, their feet were left, but their balls went further right.
Right.
My feet were right. And then by the time the ball was down lane, it was left.
Your ball
so yeah.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah.
They never really crossed paths where the oil isn't.
Right.
In a sense, right?
So then once I had to change, which was in the game 2, I moved to a pearl symmetric and jumped into their track, basically the burn, and we had a great third game.
You shot 268?
Yeah.
And Joey D shot 270, I think.
We both shot 250, 260. Yeah.
So two of our him and my brother end up having huge games. And myself, I was just steady Eddie with like a 180, 2-0. I was like 2-0, 2-0, 180. My girlfriend bowled, I think she shot 620.
Yeah.
With a bad last game, with like a 180 last game. And then our other buddy Jake just shot 210, 210, 210.
Yeah.
So we were really consistent. We missed a lot of spares, but our lane play was break him down to the right for our guys who had a little more hand, and then the urethane obviously crossed over a little earlier and created a little more hold spot. But that was with 5 guys.
Right.
Now we're running another 5, and we did a little extra work last night.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
Yeah. So we last night we went we bowled on the 2015 pattern, which is 38 feet, 39, 38 feet. I can't remember. Anyway,
38 feet,
26 mils.
Yep.
And
27.
we only used resin. So we all bowled pretty well, score wise. And believe me, it's a tough pattern. Don't get me wrong. But so anyway, we all I played pretty far right with the resin. Started around.
He was like
I was throwing
5
around
down lane.
6-7, and then start at the arrows. Yeah, it was about 6-7, and then
down lane you were close to the
yeah, and
3, 4, 5,
and then Nick, who's a lot higher res than me, he was around 12 to start. Anyway, so we burned a huge hole in the track area on that pattern, and so we only had 5 guys, so we're kind of trying to calculate how many frames we were into the game if we had 10 people. So by the time we think we were starting the third game, we had an enormous amount of missed room to the right, almost creating like a perfect house shot situation. There wasn't a whole lot of hold, especially if you were a straight player. We had a couple of guys that were straight players on the right side of the lane. If they tried to throw it straight down the lane, they did not have a lot of hold. So we're trying to figure that out a little bit. But if you threw it to the right, man, and you were playing in the middle of the lane where we were in the track or farther left, there was so much bumper to the right. Oh my God. We opened that up so much. It was awesome.
Yeah. So we ended up bowling, I think, 5 games between us all. And that kind of gave us a general idea. I guess we kind of guessed we were in game 3, right? For the righties. We had to be right around game 3. If not, maybe a little bit farther into it. And I mean, we did have a huge amount of area for the guys who swung it, but we do have to figure out how to get a little bit of hold in there for the guys who played a little bit straighter, because our companion team is a little straighter than us, because you don't want everybody right on top of each other, because once you get on top of each other, you can create a little bit of over under or a little bit of a cliff.
Yep.
So when you get it right quick, it hooks way too fast, and then you've got too much hold in the middle. So you do need that good mix there.
Yeah.
Which we look like we had a good mix.
Yeah, we've got a couple of guys that throw it straight to the right. Then we've got a guy that plays in the track. I I don't want to say I'm like a Mr. Versatile over here, but I can play a little straight. I can play a little left.
Yeah, you can move. You and Joey are a little bit.
Joey's very versatile.
Right. You guys can be really far right or a little bit farther left.
Yep. So yeah, Chris had a good question here. Like you said, he said, "What do you do about brackets if you expect teammates to sacrifice scores to break down the lane pattern?" That's a great question because we have been talking about this.
Yeah, it's kind of a tricky situation. I guess it depends on. I mean, for us, it's for our companion teams. I think we were thinking of offering this, or just our team. We're not really entirely sure, but we were just gonna split. But everybody has to get an equal amount.
We were discussing splitting. Yeah.
Yeah, we were going to talk to people about it.
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't agree on, but Kyle and I kind of chatted a little bit. But it depends because some people only put in $100 in, while Kyle puts in
settle down
life savings.
Yeah, I go with the kids' college fund.
Right, and if you lose, they'll figure it out.
There's always community college.
But
Bernie Sanders said he'll save me.
So, anyways, so we did decide, kind of like, hey, if we do kind of split brackets, it would have to be everybody would have to put in the same amount. Will people do that? We don't know. It's up to your team, really.
Yeah. So
we're super close, tight knit group. So from us, they're banking on me saving them basically.
Yeah. So my opinion on the matter is and I'll give you my God's honest opinion though. So what I told Anthony last night, this is literally the words that I said. Once I put my money into brackets, I don't care. I'm here to bowl for the team and with the team. What happens in brackets is irrelevant to me. I'm not going to jump ship and abandon ship if I think I can shoot a 250 to save my bracket money. And I know that sounds crazy. Maybe I could win $1,500 or $2,000 or something in brackets because you can win some big money at bowling against a couple hundred guys. But that's the truth. We're there to bowl as a team and score big. I mean, does that change if we shoot 800 the first game? Maybe. There's not a lot of teams that have won with an 800, I don't think, to open up with.
The only teams we saw since 2003 that have won without 1,000 the first game has been 2.
Right.
And it was like 9.
There was still 9 something, yeah.
But the scores were also extremely low versus
that year, right?
Yeah, because I do have some of the scores up here. I have the leaderboard, so we can chat about that too. But I in my opinion, we just split. I mean, we're gonna go bowl as a team because at the end of the day,
but not everybody gets into brackets either. That's right. The other thing too. So
at the end of the day, this is the way I look at it for our team. We're good enough players to shoot 190, 200 game one, 200 plus, I should say.
Yeah.
I mean, if we don't shoot 190 or 180 even, I mean, then there was a lot of missed spares there. So,
yep.
I mean, we should be shooting 190, 200, which should get you through quite a few brackets, because you're bowling against so many different people. And the way the brackets work, the system is usually they try to give you different players in the first game no matter what. So that way you have a different chance. So that way you're not facing the same person all the time. So they do try to mix that up as well. So you got to remember your best odds to get through a bracket with having a low game are typically game one because you're facing such a different amount of people. That's my opinion. Because then once you start to get the better players are in the games 2 and game 3, that's when the scores should be going up. So the first game is to shoot 190 plus. You should get through a lot of brackets with that. So I would just split it. Just make sure everybody that does the same amount. Will it work for us? I don't know if our guys
we have to talk to everybody a little bit more.
It's kind of like a team by team thing.
Yeah.
And I don't think our guys will bail because I think we have a really good understanding, and our guys are very excited, even more than last year.
Yeah.
To get back out there because we think that with the score being 34-86, which I'm looking at it right now.
That's super high. Yeah.
Days ago, that's high, but we think that we can put a really good showing out there and hopefully have 2 really good years and hopefully be able to build on what we had last year.
Yeah. So let's talk about real quick. You can, we'll tell you what we're going to bring out real quick, but what we think we're going to bring out right now. You can check out our ball guide too on our channel. I think I just said that a few minutes ago, and remember that was filmed before the that's right, the ball bands. But that the guide is just that. It's a guide. It's not telling you to go get a phase 4. It's telling you to get something like a phase 4. You know what I'm saying? So
something similar, something
right.
that fits within those guidelines. And we did
Right.
give a bunch
of options. Yeah.
We might have missed a few brands here and there, but if you have any questions, just email us or hit us in the YouTubes,
Right.
The YouTube verse, and we will get back.
We'll answer you. So what I'm currently, after practicing for the last few months,
and our bags are very, very different.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So
left-handed versus righty, and I'm not a cranker. I guess you would call me yeah. So I got a Quantum Evo solid. I got a phase 2, and by the way, usually what we try to do is big ASIM, big symmetrical, pearl ASIM, pearl symmetrical, and then a wild card and a spare ball. And wild card could be a hybrid or just your not big, but your benchmark ball, your favorite ball, something. Anyway, so I got a Quantum Evo solid. I got a phase 2. As of last night, I chose my Obsession Tour Gold and my Zen, which I'm not in love with, but I think we're going to make it work. And then my purple and my spare ball, which is Black Hammer.
Oh, that's what you decided to go with?
Yeah, why?
I was just surprised. I didn't know the Black Hammer was making the trip again.
Not again. It's the purple was my spare ball last year, which I wasn't excited about because I couldn't make a 3.610 to save my life because I couldn't. I just couldn't.
You just couldn't. Kyle just couldn't.
I just couldn't.
He was seeing too many pins. Our bags are completely different because what we recommend in the ball guide versus what I bring is not really what we're looking at here. So I am currently, I just drilled a Paragon with what we would call a trick layout to try to get the ball to roll really early so that way the back ends are out of play. So we've got that one at like 30 by 4 3/4 by 45 because that's just going to be super smooth and roll forward, which it did roll really well.
It's okay,
night. It keeps me
didn't strike a lot.
If I have to use resin. It did strike a lot the first game until I left the Greek.
Oh, that's right. That's right. You're right.
I was on pace shooting 240.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Yep.
Anyways, jeez.
That tough 10th frame that got us all too.
It did. So I went with that one, and then I'm not going with a pearl asymmetric. I did go with a Brunswick Defender. Ball is absolutely really good for me. I've got like 830 something with it. I've got a 300. I don't even have a 300 with it, but it works a lot for me. It's a cleaner cover than the Paragon, so it gets a little bit farther down lane and it has a little bit more energy. So for me, I'm not looking to really move into the inside part of the lane because there's not as much traffic. Obviously, the righties need way more different options. For me, I'm just trying to keep it so I can kind of stay in my comfort zone and just be able to switch balls and just give me a little bit of a different reaction. So that Defender gives me a little bit of a cleaner look versus the Paragon. And then if we're gonna go down, we've got a knockout black blue. That's a solid symmetrical. It is a little bit more boomy down lane for me. It whips a little bit quicker than the asymmetrical pieces. It kind of gives me that different look, but it is solid, so it is able to pick up in the middle a little bit. Kyle watched me throw it a little last night. I did move right with it. I'm able to move right with that ball instead of getting into a pearl ball because I don't know if I'm going to see enough transition to be able to get into a pearl ball. So that ball kind of gives me that boom down lane that I'll be looking for when I have to move in. And then the last resin ball that I will bring is a Melee Midnight Blue because it sisters the knockout black blue.
Yeah.
And they're very similar layouts. This one is just a little bit more angular. And with the cover being cleaner, it gives me more down lane motion if I have to get in. Now, I did bowl from the inner part of the lane a few years ago. Last year I bowled really straight. I've done decent from both angles. So I don't want to opt out and not bring a shiny ball because a lot of the shinier equipment works really well out there. I know I'm on the other side, but if I do have to get into a ball, I know I can kind of trick it. I can play straight. I can move in. I can do a lot of different shapes with it. So it is another versatile piece with that Defender.
And then don't forget about the purple and the double cross.
Yeah, so we're going double cross is going to be our spare ball, but also the double cross doubles as a strike ball on the fresh because it'll hook a little earlier than that purple hammer, so it keeps me a little more controlled in the back ends. If the back ends are super, super clean. And then as I transition into the game, into like game 2 or game 3, I will switch into a purple to get a fresh cover because the knockout will be, or the double cross will be used for spares.
All this pending what we see out there.
No, I'm pretty sure I'm just going to throw your name.
We know. We
I worked
know.
with the resin last night, and I had 170 in there because the 2 lanes were really weird. I struck on the right lane, and the left lane I Greek churched on one shot in the 10th. The next frame I moved. In the first frame in the second game, I Greek churched again. Then I moved even farther right, and I big forward, and then I moved even farther right, and then I washed.
Yeah, but
out.
you're going into the hook. Then you got too much. You had way too much angle at one point, and then you just threw it way too far left.
Right.
Yeah.
But then it was no good. But it was all the left lane. The right lane I struck or spared on every time. So I ran into a little bit of wall, but the resin game wasn't too bad last night if they play similar to that. But that's also a pattern where I can really get that urethane. So if you're left-handed, bury a bunch of sanded stuff, get that ball early and throw it right at the head.
All right, so and stay tuned. In a couple of weeks or a week or two, you should see a video from us about how to properly surface your equipment, especially for tournaments like that where they're high volume and slick surfaces, where you can change up your surface to make it work for you.
Before play starts.
Right, not in the middle of play. All right, guys, before we get into our next topic here, don't forget to like, subscribe, click the bell to get alerts from the channel, share it with your friends, and please give us some love and check out the merch shop on Etsy, where you can check out our sweet shirts and hats and whatnot. All right, so
let's get into our topic.
Yeah, I just found this out today when Anthony sent me a freaking message.
My dad was.
Yeah, it was like it's like 2 days old, and I didn't even know it was going on. And
article's really way older than that.
The
article's 2016.
Yeah, but
but he's reposting.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, yeah.
So it actually becomes more relevant into today's day. So I think he kind of said, "Hey, check this out. This is what I said a few years ago.
Right.
When do I run?"
Yes, exactly. He did say it a while ago. And then
I think it was yesterday. He said, where can I sign up to run for office with USBC head honcho?"
Right. So
like that.
So
we wanted to go over it and revisit it.
Right. A number of years ago, 2016, as it were, in February, Brian Voss, Hall of Famer, as we know, basically went out there and put a post on Facebook and went through his great idea on how to kind of fix, if you will, kind of like I put my video out there the other day, the sport, the game. Yeah. Because, a lot of us have the same opinion, I would say, that
it seems like it's more traditionalists have the same opinion, though. You know what I mean?
I guess so, yeah.
It's more the people who,
or as one YouTuber, or not YouTuber, but YouTube commenter put, I was oh man, now I lost the word. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Somebody that doesn't like change. Cripes, I forgot the word. Sorry, guys. Anyway, basically, we're old school traditionalists. That he basically said, he wants to see people keep their thumb in the ball. One-handed, no two-handers, and he's friends with Palermo and Belmonte. Sorry.
Right.
Yeah, I'm good. Just stroking out over here. He's friends with Belmo and Palermo and everything. But he just believes in the tradition of the game.
Yeah. So basically, what did he kind of run through and what did you see his points and what went
through? He said, take the cores out of the ball.
Yeah, he basically wants to go back to pancake weight block.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he just kind of wants you to have 3 bowling balls, but he wants to implement back where this was 2016. He wants to make it so the weights are a little more important. And he wants to bring it back to, if I read it correctly, which I'm not a great reader, but I'm a good comprehender. So tell me if I'm wrong.
You're wrong.
He wanted to run about 8 patterns.
Yeah.
Because he wanted the pros to bowl in the same thing.
At the same time.
Because he wants people to be able to relate to the professionals.
Mm-hmm. Which I completely agree with.
Right. Yes, it was from 2016, Dave. This is what we're talking about. But he did repost that he wants to run for USBC head honcho, basically.
Yeah.
And he reposted this article, which is why we're touching on it, because we don't know if people have seen it. I never saw it.
Right.
So he wants people just to be able to go back to what we were saying, pancake weight block, back to 8 patterns, and that way everybody can relate to each other and thumb in the ball, which I didn't really necessarily agree with.
Right. So yeah,
because a pancake weight block isn't really going to do anything no matter how much you rev it, right? I mean it will, but
it will change the game a lot to go back to. I mean, the cover stock does a lot.
Brian did message us, by the way.
Did he really?
He said that we'll do it another time. He wants the dust to settle.
Oh man, thanks for the invite. So we did just get a message from Brian Voss. He said we can do it another time. We invited him on the show tonight, but well, thanks for the reply, Brian. So let's see. Where was I going with that? Oh, so the core, is what I think what really gives the ball the power down lane.
Well, I mean,
right?
Cover stock is extremely important because of the footprint, but I mean,
the core is what gives it the smack.
It gives it the drive, the flare potential. That's what, like if you look at an IQ Tour, super weak. If you put a strong cover on it, it would still be good, like a bonus. Actually, let's look at a bonus because they use the same cover stock on the bonuses, which got discontinued, and the Conspiracies back in the day. The Conspiracy was your high-end asymmetric, and your bonus was your IQ Tour-ish, low RG, low differential ball with a super strong cover on it. So that's where they kind of differed. Now, the bonus wasn't as strong because of the core. So it makes it a little more flare, a different shape. But ultimately, I even think Mo said it, that cover stock does make a lot of the difference as well because that's what's actually touching the land.
Sure. Which I think people have always said it's like 70% of the ball, right? I don't know what the real science is, but still, I'd have to believe if you did take the cover or the core out, you'd lose a lot of that energy that is creating the pin action, right? The pin motion. I'm not going to say carry, but the pin motion in the pin deck, right?
Maybe. I would count that as cover because if it's a cleaner cover, a higher entry angle creates more pin action.
I'd still love to see it. Let's take one of these. I would love to be able to do that. Have one of these high end covers without the core and it's just a pancake core. That'd be interesting to see.
That'd be cool.
Anyway, so then, I think the big controversy now is that he said, where the heck did it go? Like, he posted that again the other day, and then he replied with, "I'm ready. How do I submit my application to lead the USBC or the next organization?"
I mean, that's pretty cool. The thing that I like about it is he's ready to go. Like, he's ready to get in there and he's ready to butt heads. It seems like he's ready to try and revolutionize and get back a little bit more of the skill level instead of just grabbing a bunch of different bowling balls and throwing them and drilling them differently. That's another thing he explained in there.
Right.
Back in the day, you did have to have a little bit more skill.
It's finesse.
It was a little more finesse, right? It would be without the weight blocks in it and all the technology, but going back to what he said, I mean, he's ready to go. It seems like he's ready to make a change. And how much support would he get?
None.
Probably, you don't think so?
It would be.
I think he could quite support from guys like you.
It would be 10% of the bowling industry, and almost none of the proprietors. And I'm saying almost none because I'll just go by off of the response I got from the video I posted last week, and just the general attitude, just from comments. And this is not statistical; this is just anecdotal. But people are they just don't want to have to try even just a little bit harder. Don't get me wrong, we had a bunch of comments on the video that were like, yes, I completely 100% agree. Bowling, I hate to use the term too easy because there are a lot of people that say, well, it's not that easy for me. But the point is just the scores are just too high. It's just you can miss by 10 boards and still strike in a lot of situations. And I think to Brian Voss's point, that's just not the sport of bowling, and it shouldn't be that way. So anyway, there's a lot of commenters on YouTube that say let them have their 10 boards, and then if they want to bowl on harder stuff, they can. It's like, but you can't even. Right? Why exactly? If you have that crutch, why would you? And then, where are you going to go get that? There's only so few places like here where we have a few times to offer that hard stuff, like on Wednesday nights when we practice, or in the middle of summer when nobody wants to bowl. There's a tournament, or not a tournament. I hate to call it even a tournament because it's like that makes it sound like it's like, oh, I gotta dedicate $100 or whatever. Like,
it's still a tournament.
you know what I mean?
It's
Yeah, but
it's not a high risk tournament.
that's a good way to put it. High risk, right? Yeah.
It's more of a understanding of what you can do differently to get better. And
right.
You know, you get a bunch of different people who do make it. We actually had a senior cut last year too. Not to get off topic, but you know, it's not a high risk tournament. You know, there's a decent reward, and it's $20 a week. Your league is $20 a week.
Yeah.
So you're not really getting crazy in there and spending a whole lot of money. I think I run it for 8 weeks. It's $160. If you win one event, it's 120 or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, and so it's not. And if you get some brackets and you get lucky, you know, you can get your money back out of it. You get $30-$40 if you bowl halfway decent. So, I mean, I don't know. So what are you going to do? So in terms of he's going to have 8 patterns. So what are we going to do? Get rid of all the patterns that have been created? The pattern database?
Yeah, that's interesting because like I'd like the challenge of figuring out what's on the lane.
Yeah, even going further, not to cut you off, but if you go to nationals, they have a different pattern, just a little bit different flip-flop every year, which I get. But if we're trying to relate pros to this, and you only have 8 patterns, let's say, which I'm sure they would come out with new ones every year or something to try to keep it fresh. But how would you want to use the same pattern of the 8 that's being used? Or are you going to say, hey, we're going to do the same thing, but now you can relate with those 8 patterns to the professionals, and then the USBC Open Championship, everybody will kind of be prepared, so you don't really need to know that pattern. Or
right.
should they release it? Now we're getting into a whole nother topic.
Yeah, let's stick to our guns here.
Right. I mean, so you know, there's a whole lot of variables in there, but I mean, you know, if you have a guy in there who's ready to try and make change, I mean, maybe got to do it. I don't know. I don't know. I
will tell you what though, it's an interesting thought to say, all right, on this week is pattern 1, and this week the pros are bowling on pattern 1.
Right.
Look at them; they're bowling 250, and I'm shooting 190.
Yeah, you're trying to correlate what they're bowling on with, but at the same time,
What else is nice, not just the score, but look at this. Why am I playing up second arrow and he's swinging fourth arrow?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What happened? Did he transition it or am I starting in the wrong spot? You know, things like that, like, which maybe a lot of people don't look at it that way, but at least there's, you know, you could actually learn a lot by watching those guys play the same pattern and try to figure it out that way.
Also, those guys are still going to be given the advantage though. Like we talked about before, the professional players always have the advantage because their access to equipment is so much higher. Now, granted, I think he said we are going to he understands that the bowling ball companies do support bowling.
Right.
I did read a little bit of that, but he said you can make a few different models and alter the weights in them, and they're going to react very differently. So even though they're going to have maybe more bowling balls, you know, they're still going to have to learn how to trick it a little bit to be able to get it to do what it's going to want, because I'm assuming that he wants to take, with it's only pancake weight block, there really can't be that much technology in it.
Right.
Right. So, I mean, you're going to be able to relate to them.
Yeah, and I don't think he said anything about the covers. I think he was all about the core.
Yeah, he didn't really touch on covers. But you know, it's interesting that he didn't, because they're super soakers.
Yeah.
They're still, in theory, the ball might not flare as much, but still, these balls still soak up oil. So how much can they affect the lane without flaring as much and having a lot of cover there?
The other thing that I thought was really neat was his thought, like we actually talked about this last week, was
no, scores could go up. I just read my brother's comment. You got to think, if
go ahead. That's all right.
If there are pancake weight blocks in there and it doesn't flare, how much is the player really going to have to move? And oil is going to go down. You're not going to have 27 mils on a house shot because of all these balls, you know, in a sense.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff that teeter-totters back and forth here. You know what I'm saying? I mean, there's a lot of, you know, the scores, you know, you might bring the ratio down, but because the players don't have to move as much now and there's less technology, you know, now the scores might actually they might lower a little bit, but then once they figure out how to do some different things, they're not going to have to move as much. They might actually bowl a little bit better, and then the knowledge will increase.
Yeah, that's my whole thought, is that's what I want to see, is the knowledge base increasing across the whole sport. Everybody learning more about the game, learning more about the professional bowlers, getting them to get more money. Like, I want them to get paid what they should be getting paid. You know what I mean? The other thing that I thought was interesting is what we talked about last week that, like, Carl and Sarah brought up. I think it was actually Sarah, because I wouldn't give Carl that much credit. Just kidding, Carl. I don't even think you're watching, but I have to bust on you anyway. Hopefully they watch it. Anyway, was like the tiered level. So like this was a whole other thing, kind of like the soccer soccer thought is like, here's your lower league, and then you advance to your upper league. So like everyone's bowling on the same pattern. So like your league champion moves up to your regional champion, moves up to your state champion, moves up to your your whatever. But like that's what he's saying. Like you get these guys to make more and more money and advance further and further and further, so that it becomes something that you can actually make money in. If they had money to make, but that was his point.
It'd almost be like there'd be different tier levels for each player. I mean, league would be league, but hopefully, as you start to get better, there would be more opportunities.
The opportunity and incentive to go from the league to the next level. You know what I mean? Right. And then Emerald Sin had a good point. I don't think we touched on this last time either, but a point that should be brought up is about heavier pins and adding kickboards like at the playoffs. Like kickboards at the playoffs. What is he referring to?
I'm not entirely sure. I haven't looked, but heavier pins, I'll be completely honest with you. If you're a professional, we actually made heavier pins here.
Yeah.
If you remember, they felt pretty good.
Yeah.
Like I bowled really well. We put the house shot out, and we actually had a tournament called the Lumberjack because they were heavier pins. And I think I won, but I didn't put myself in. I just wanted to bowl in it to see how it was. I mean, yeah, you do leave a few pins if you don't hit the pocket just right.
Well, that's the thing, though, is I think that's the point.
They still fall pretty good, though.
Yeah.
They might fall better being a little bit heavier because they don't move as fast and they actually stay on the deck a little longer.
But I think
how many machines are made to handle a heavier pin? You got to remember that puts a little more wear and tear on all the machines in the back.
Well, the voids are the other thing too. The pins have voids inside of them to allow them to bounce better, and then the plastic shell also allows them to bounce better. And then the kickboards, it says adding kickboards. That I'm not sure what he's referring to, but yeah, I'm not sure, but
I'm assuming it's the siding. Did they beef up the sides?
Maybe, I don't know,
walls?
but
but
either way, again, heavier pins. We tested that a little bit. I don't know. I do think that would reduce your angle to the pocket, though, right? Like the amount of space that you have to strike, it would reduce, which is a good thing as far as if you wanted to reduce scores. And
yeah, I mean, you wouldn't really have to do too much to the shots,
right?
Because the pins are going to fall a little differently. I think somebody said side walls, so they might have beefed up the side walls because the pins are heavier. But yeah, I mean, it might lower the scores a little bit, but your better bowlers are still going to bowl good because they understand what way the ball is supposed to read the lane and how the ball is supposed to go through the pins. So they might stay the same and or go. I mean, I thought they fell really well when we put them in. As long as you're looking at the right thing, and I'm a better player now than I was then, so I'm assuming that I could bowl fairly similar. I think I shot a 950 on that.
I have no idea. I don't even know how you remember stuff like that.
And then me and Artie came over and bowled jackpots here.
I don't even remember what.
And I broke my thumb.
I did yesterday.
I just remember some small things.
But one other thing that we were talking about, I was talking about with Tom Anderson last Thursday after the podcast, is because of today's game, everything is bowling ball, right? Like, I'm not striking, got to change balls. But, a Luddite, that's what he called me, a Luddite. Sorry. Okay. But everything, in the old days, quote unquote, it was, what am I doing? How do I have to change? You know what I mean?
Change a little bit of this to get a different entry angle.
Right.
Now it's change balls and change entry
right.
angle.
And on top of that, not just what am I doing, but like, man, I got to get a lesson this week, or I got to come in and practice. There's none of that.
We did talk about that. But
you know what I mean?
Well, the way the bowling balls are now, you buy a ball instead of a lesson.
Exactly. But you could come in for $30 to $50 for a lesson for a half hour.
I don't even know if I charge people.
You don't, but I'm just saying.
I go down and give people lessons whenever they're asking for help.
Right.
I don't even care.
But like, nobody wants to better themselves. They just expect scores, and that's what I had so many comments on that video. And it's just like, I don't know. I can't look at myself in the mirror and be like, I'm okay with just pretending that my scores were good tonight. Like, even when I go to the golf course, and I suck at golf. Don't get me wrong, but when I go to the golf course and my ball like bounces off the cart path and I get like an extra 30 yards, like I laugh it off and like whatever. But like I know that my drive wasn't 30 extra yards. It was 150 because it was probably 150.
I'm thinking if I hit the cart path and I'm hitting it about 330,
Yeah, okay.
a 200-yard slice, and it hits the golf cart, I'm really hitting it 400.
Oh yeah.
Right?
And then you woke up.
I don't know. I'm an absolute unit on the golf course.
Yep, a unit. All right. Well, so I think it sounds like Brian Voss is running to run the USBC or the new organization. I don't know. There's a lot of people that are upset over the last month based on the bowling ball scandal. And
well, let's put it this perspective. If you are a member of the USBC, we should still support the USBC because it is the governing body, right? Because that's how it should be. We still need to be behind it, because they do make rules for our game. If another one comes up, would I join it? I'd probably join both. Because at the end of the day,
how does that help?
How does that help? Because then, you're supporting another one to see if we have an opportunity to make a little bit more change. Or maybe the new association is going to be something that has those advantages like we were talking about, where you can go up, or there's a different type of events where you're regional champion, state champion, local, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Maybe that'll be that. And then you will have your normal USBC, which still hosts the OCs, but there's kind of like a side, kind of like the TNBA, but a little bit different, maybe a little bit more competitive, a little bit more challenging, and they do implement those rules in those leagues. And then maybe, people will bowl that, or maybe people will bowl in the USBC. I don't know. I'm just saying we should support basically everything that goes on. I'm a TNBA member myself, and I'm a USBC member. If they came out with another one, I'd probably join it just to see what they had to offer and see where we can go.
You heard it here, folks.
You heard it here first. We have no idea what's going on.
If you start an association, Anthony will join it. Plain and simple. All right.
I will pay any amount of money upwards of 10 pesos.
Did you pick a bowler of the week yet?
No, I did not pick a bowler of the week.
Oh boy.
I've been stuck. I'll be honest. A lot of guys are high-low this week.
That's true.
There, we hadn't had a submission because people are finishing up. So I didn't get time to take a look at any of the scores because it's all high-low.
That's true. It is. We are winding down.
Yeah, Monday and Tuesday are basically done, and it's all playoffs, so we don't keep that. I mean, if you want to do bowl of the week, we've got to pick Chris Smith, in my opinion. Do we have any submissions for this week?
Did we not?
Chris Smith needs to be a bowler of the week. He shot, like 11 something last week or a week before. He just won his league this week. He won his league. He shot 780. He shot 799 or 7.
He has been tearing it up this year too.
He's tearing up recently. He actually had a little bit of a slump, and now he's crushing.
Yeah.
So we're gonna pick a bowler of the week. We're gonna pick Chris Smith. He actually does bowl here. It's not a made up name.
Chris Smith and
789 at Boulevard, a quiet 789.
He's coming to Vegas with us.
Coming to Vegas.
He's a lefty that just torques the ball.
Yeah, he's going to Vegas and States.
Yep.
And he went to Rutland with us this year. Starting to become a player that we're starting to put in the stable, that we're able to have another thoroughbred in there to maybe make a run.
So congratulations,
Hey.
Chris Smith, bowler of the week.
Wow, you're so good, Chris. Can't wait to see you tonight.
If you guys want to be bowler of the week or would like to nominate somebody, wait a minute. That's right. Forget about it. You can't even nominate because next week we announce bowler of the year next week.
Through stats, or are we just gonna pick out of a hat or something?
I don't know. We'll decide.
We'll decide on the upcoming episode next week on Downlane Podcast.
So, yeah, before we go into our outro here, don't forget, next week is our season finale for this year, obviously. So tune in, 7 o'clock next week for our season finale. A lot of good stuff going on. And we will announce our bowler of the year. What's that?
So we're going to try and have our surface video out this week or
Yes.
next week. We're going to try and put it out there before, tournament season really ramps up. I know some guys are bowling the States now. Some guys have a few weeks ago. There is a bunch of other association-style tournaments or state, Wild Irish Rose, the Western something that some other guys always talk about out in Ohio. There's a bunch of stuff going on. So make sure that you check that video out to help you understand the lanes a little bit better and understand your ball motion to try to give you a little more success.
Keep on learning. That's all I got to say.
Touchdown, Jesus.
All right. So it is time for us to go bowling. So please don't forget to like, subscribe, click the bell to get alerts. That's all on YouTube. Or you can also check us out on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. If you can't watch the show on YouTube, you can always download and listen from any major podcast outlet. And please give us a 5-star review. If you don't mind, you can check us out on Etsy and pick out some shirts and apparel.
We do need some new.
Yeah, we need some new designs.
New threads.
We should have a design contest for one of our shirts. We should have some submissions for them to email us some submissions for designs.
Stick figures count.
So check out the links in our show notes here, and our mailing list is on there too. So if you guys want to join our mailing list and get our newsletters and whatnot, you can go ahead and click the show notes, and our mailing list is on there. If you have any suggestions for the show, you can email us at downlanepod@gmail.com. You can check us out next week for our season finale. Thank you. I'll thank you anyway, Austin. I know you're watching, the producer.
He's definitely not watching. He did not comment.
He commented to my phone to tell us that your microphone sucked. Thank you.
Maybe you should be here.
Thank you to Jack Scaccia, proprietor of Town and Country Lanes. Thank you to Anthony for another great show. Thank you to my family, Stephanie, Zach, and Ethan.
Thanks to my girlfriend, Brad.
And we will see you guys next week. This is Downlane Podcast. I forgot how to do this.